world is your audience.
I'm guessing. That's what they say about the internet.
4.5 billion people.
I'm Chris Lopez. I'm the lead vocalist for Episodic.
I'm Jeremy Aiello. I'm the bass player.
Mark Routt, drums.
And Rich Kotsko, I'm guitar player.
Songwriter extraordinaire.
And now, like, you guys have been together how long as this group? As this, this incarnation, I guess you'd call it.
It's been 2 years. Chris was the last member to join, and Jeremy was the second to last. We started out without a bass player for about, 2 years?
Almost.
So it's been about 5 years that this has been in the making.
Okay, now, like, what are you guys' influences, basically? Who do you usually draw from for, like, experience or, like
Rush, Queensryche, Led Zeppelin,
Dream Theater.
ABBA.
Yeah,
ABBA.
That's kind of a divergent groups there, man.
Yeah, definitely. Musically, there's definitely some progressive styles of music in there.
Yeah, definitely. So now, like, what else do you Chris? Now, you said you're like one of the last people to join the band.
Yeah.
Now, were you with other bands previously?
Yeah, I was with a few different previous bands. I played with a cover band here in Flint for about a year, actually. Had some fun with that. Band called Nearfall, and then, only 2 other bands since high school, really. Played with a band called Guilty Conscience out of Grand Blanc, and those guys are now Fled 5 out of Grand Rapids. Also a band called Liquid Eclipse, which did the CD and did a little bit of touring around the state of Michigan. That was a Christian music act, and also a little bit more progressive style of music.
Jeremy I've known for quite a few years. So anyway, he kind of like has a widespread interest in music too. So I mean, basically, who do you pattern yourself after, or try to bring yourself to be like?
Well, a lot of the bands that Rich mentioned, and I like. I'm big into Geddy Lee. I started out playing guitar, and I was in a band. I played the guitar. I was in a band called Antioch with my brother and a couple other guys. And when that band dissolved and I got out of that, Rich approached me a couple of years later and said, hey, we're looking for a bass player. You want to sit in and listen to us? And I came in and listened to him, and they had a different singer at the time. It was Rich Mark and another guy named Alex. And I sat there and I said, I can do this bass thing. So I tried the bass out, and I actually enjoyed it. When you're a guitar player, there's kind of a stigma sometimes that, I don't want to play the bass because it's not as flashy, and you find out playing it, it's actually a lot of fun to play. Because,
It looks like it.
It is a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, and Mark, right, the drummer.
That's right.
Okay, now what about you? What's your musical influences there?
Well, you got to go right back to Neil Peart, Phil Collins, Stuart Copeland, their early years, to Dave Weckl, some jazz drummers past that point. That really influenced me a lot. Of course, John Bonham.
Yep.
And then newer ones like Mike Portman, like Dream Theater, and that kind of sound has been more my influence in recent years. But a wide variety of music is in my palette of jazz and rock and big band, all kinds of stuff. So,
Now, you've been with a couple other bands too, or?
hey, I've been in bands for 20 years, I guess, since high school.
Wow.
Went on through college and school.
In case the people haven't realized, most of these guys here are not like your 20-somethings. And a little bit past that.
Well, I
Just
thought
a
I still
little.
like 20-something.
Oh,
I guess the
yeah.
gray hair gives it away.
So, Rich, now, what's your musical influences?
Oh, pretty much. I've been listening to a lot of Cream lately, and I discovered that there's a lot of Eric Clapton influence in some of my playing, and Roger Gilmore. Of course, I like Rush and Dream Theater, a lot of the more progressive sounds. And our music is more song-based. We don't go for the heavy, just get off and play this much song and this much showing off like some of the bands do. But I've just been a pure amateur since high school. I only played in a couple bands in high school, and we weren't very good, but we had a lot of fun. And I've just kind of had it in the back of my mind for a lot of years, and been writing songs for 20-some years, and to the point where it's finally, I was going to burst if I don't do something with it. And that's when I met Mark, and we started talking, and before long we got together in another band in our church that did cover tunes and stuff like that, and kind of gave me the confidence that, man, maybe I could do this. So, and after that, they didn't really want to do any original stuff, so we kind of parted ways, and I started this project up. I was working on this for a good couple years before me and Mark got together too. So it's been quite a while putting together. So.
So anyway, well, I guess maybe the people probably just want you to get back and start jamming and they let you hear what you sound like. So why don't you do that, okay? You play a couple of songs and you tell us what songs you're going to be you planning on doing.
What's the first? Fools such as I, since I got the shirt.
Oh, okay.
This one is something that Rich had written the music to, and
Jeremy wrote the music.
or Jeremy.
Yeah,
And,
Jeremy.
just lyrically, I sat down and put some stuff together, and this is what came out. It was a song called "Fool Such as I." Actually, kept a line that was prior. It was written priorly to what the version of the song was before. This is called "A Fool Such as I."
good, man. I'm impressed. Yeah. You guys can really kick out. You can rebuild a song, Chris.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, like, now what would you would say that was like after? Who would you say that was kind of following the lead from?
Gee, I don't know. That
Kind of like a stain.
Yeah, kind of a stage.
Stains type, yeah, don't know where that came from. It just came out.
Song's really good, though. I mean, I'm impressed by it. I mean, I'm not like a critic or anything, I guess, but what I hear is like, you know, if I was walking by, hearing that at a bar or hearing that at a place, I'd want to go in hear it, you know. Now, most of you guys are from the Flint area, correct?
Yeah.
So, like, so there was a tie-in definitely to the audience of YouTube and for Laundry Room there. So, I mean, you guys perform any places? I mean, where do you guys actually perform at?
I know just the band really just, this is our first year, actually, 2007, that we're kind of, I think, focused more on trying to get out and play more and be involved in the local scene a little bit more than what we are, or what we were, actually. We just kind of been in the basement. We did a show last year, a benefit concert for a gentleman here in Flint that he's now a paraplegic, and we did that for a friend of mine and with a band called Bad Motorfinger, actually.
Bad Motorfinger, okay.
They're a cover band here out of Flint, and actually they're probably the best cover band I've ever seen. So.
Yeah, it's amazing. Some bands are so great at covering, and when they try to go beyond that, like do their own material, it seems like they fall flat because people are not willing to accept that they can actually do something, or you know, they don't want to accept that.
Well, it's a risk thing too, because
Yeah.
it's easier to make the money with a cover band than it is. And I'm not putting down cover bands.
No,
I mean, there's nothing wrong with a cover band, yeah. Because, you know, it's great and people like hearing that, but at the same time, you know, it's a risk to step out and write your own
Yeah,
stuff.
definitely.
You know, and that's what we're trying to do.
So anyway, you want to play another one for us?
Certainly.
All right. Which one this going to be?
It's gonna be Hit the Ground.
Hit the ground. This is a nice fast.
Yeah.
Real good.
And if you get the demo to that, there's a bonus hidden track at the end that you have to turn the volume way up to here.
Okay. No, you guys, we do know we give you the ability to, leave contact information, on the site. So if you want to later on, we'll get that from you, a website or whatever you might have. So.
Absolutely.
And anyway, do you hope to actually get gigs for yourselves? And
Yeah.
I see you nodding again there, Jeremy.
Gig is good.
Yeah.
Paying gig is better, but gig is good.
Yeah, we're hoping not to, step on anybody's toes in the Flint area or anything, but hopefully we'll get into, we got a lot of friends that play in different bands and stuff, so maybe we'll get on a Friday night with them or Saturday night somewhere in town versus playing, Monday night nobody. But, every band has to go through that, so I guess if we have to do some of those, that's just something we have to do, so.
Do you guys really actually want to go do the recording contract and tours and all that too, or?
I'm probably mainly sticking independent. We're almost finished with a self-produced CD. Chris just has to do 3 songs where he has to finish up the vocals. We have the music's all done, and our friend Mike Jones has recorded it, and he's ready to mix it all down, and so we're real close to having that finished. And we plan on marketing that through the internet real heavily. And
That's a good way of doing it. Save the distribution costs and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what do you guys think of the internet? Do you think it's a great vehicle for the average person? Like Larry and I, when we started our show, we were planning on, I don't think we were really planning on reaching as many people as we have, and there's a lot of reaction to what we're doing. I think you guys are going to see the same thing.
I hope so.
Yeah, the internet, I think, is a great tool, especially in today's time. Obviously, 10 years ago, radio stations didn't have websites.
Right.
And now everybody seems to be going that route. And obviously, internet radio is huge right now. The big thing for us, like he said, we're kind of focused on the independent thing just because we all have our lives outside of this band and families and careers. Obviously, unless, Atlantic Records or somebody says, we'll give you $1 million for this year to go on tour, then I might consider.
Wait, my phone's ringing.
Yeah. No, see, I think it's great you guys are still doing this. You're doing this, and it's like you got a good attitude on it. Every one of you have, as you would say, day jobs and careers. Actually, many of you, the 3 of you have careers, basically, right? Yeah. Now, do you want to go into what you guys do for a living, or would you rather remain anonymous in that respect, or what?
I don't know.
Great respect for teachers, man. Jeremy, he's a teacher.
Yeah, but I tell you, if I got the contact, I call him tomorrow and say, "See ya." I love my job, but I do like playing music too. It's a lot of fun.
Now, do you think it's going to be good for your students to see you in this kind of light? They do use the YouTube.
No, I hope so. You think so?
I'll say Mr. Aiello.
Well, I think, yeah, it shows that, Monsieur Aiello doesn't sit at home twiddling his thumbs playing checkers. No, I'm not. Well, there's a Smith, the teachers are all these old fuddy-duddies, and we're not, and we get out, and, each of us, if you look at us outside of this, you wouldn't think, well, you might think of us as musicians, but, our jobs are, what we have to do, but this is something we do for fun. And
he's too humble. Jeremy and I went up to Dirt Fest last year up at Birch Run and ran into a couple of his students.
They know he rocks.
Yeah.
That's cool. Now, Dirt Rocks, you said. Where was that at?
Dirt Fest. They had it up at the Birch Run Expo Center. It's all.
That one fruity station in Flint was there, I think, weren't they?
Oh yes, we won't mention any names, but
we won't drop radio names.
but a certain fruit station.
Now, it seems like every one of you guys do have families, including you, Chris. You have a family too, and you do, Mark, and
3 kids.
wow.
Yeah, Mark and I both have 3.
Right.
And,
I've got 2.
You
Mine are out of the house. So.
There's a little discrepancy in age between
Yeah.
Rich and the rest of the band. So
I'm definitely a late bloomer here.
See, that's cool. It's like I think it just goes to show people that, I hate to say a kind of a cliche, but rock and roll is kind of ageless. I think it does. You can hear stuff that's recorded back in the 70s. I personally think the Doors. You can hear the stuff recorded in the late 60s or 70s, like the Doors, and it's still timeless. It still has a time frame that's easily defined.
Right.
You might be able to say that was recorded, and this is what we could do now, but the content of the music overall is still relatively ageless. Yeah.
Yeah, and that would be a great thing to achieve if we had a song that 20 years from now you listen to it and it still sounds just as good as when it was released. I mean, that's a real goal that, you know, like AC/DC, you know, kids still today love AC/DC.
Yeah, and it's like it's an easy definable sound. And people say, well, I've had people criticize AC/DC for that reason. They say, well, that sound's the same. And I think that's probably the draw.
Well,
you know?
I think that comes into what the youth of today, you know, the younger generation of today. I mean, you've got the all these bands that just seem to have one hit and they're done, you know, and they got the scream going on, and I think that's where episodic comes in a little different. We like to have the singable melodies and you know, the nice riffs and with the guitar work and drums, and hopefully that alone, being rock and progressive, will always stay timeless.
So anyway, it's like, I think these guys are good. I mean, like I said, I've been around the Flint area, and I've heard a lot of good bands come and go, nationally and locally, you know, and, you know, Grand Funk I point to, so, you know, you guys are all familiar with them. Maybe Jeremy's not, because he's actually from out of the area. But he's actually was raised outside the area, right?
Clarkston.
Yeah.
Grew up in Clarkston.
And all of you were pretty much born and raised in the Flint area then.
Yeah, I used to jam with Ricky Farner in art class. We used to bring our guitars in, and Mr. Martin just kind of turned his head, and we just jam all hour long.
Now what school is that?
That was a Kersley.
Kersley?
Yeah.
See, our producer for Flint, and also the guy who owns and runs Flint Talk, who should be here at some point, he also went to Kersley.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a little bit younger than you are, and he's a little bit older than I am, but...
John,
Yeah.
Mark is not from Michigan originally.
Oh, that's-
We have to forgive him.
Yeah, you've heard of Grand Funk, I'm sure.
What's
You've heard of Grand Funk, I'm sure.
I sure
Okay.
have, yeah.
Okay. So it's like there's some people out here who have very strong ties to Grand Funk. It's like you insult Grand Funk, it's like insulting a family member, because a lot of people had ties to them or wanted to have ties to it, or it created some fantasy. But
Well, that's probably the greatest tribute to Flint, actually, you know, is the fact that Flint still, you know, recognizes the Grand Funk being who they are and who they were and who they are still today. So that's just a great tribute to Flint. So hopefully that will never change. Hopefully.
now it's like now what school did you go to?
I went to Grand Blanc, so I'm supposed to be rich and snotty.
No. It's like, you know.
You can tell.
It's like, yeah, it's like it's you know, that's a stereotype of Grand Blanc, and you know, I think that's kind of largely went by the wayside. I mean, me and Larry went on the show, we're actually trying to talk people about. People are saying to people who are outside the city of Flint about commenting about political occurrences and stuff like, well, there are people who are criticizing the people from the outside of the area. Well, you don't have a right to, you know, to make criticism. Well, most of those people, even though they live in the burbs, have a very strong emotional tie to Flint. They would love, I think a lot of people, if they saw a reason to move back to Flint, if there's more things going on, they would in a heartbeat, because their ties are here. I mean, their families are here, and I think that's a testimony to how many people are still waiting for it to make a comeback of some sort. So you want to take off leave us with another song, or?
Sure.
All right.
That's truth. How about?
Oh, that's a good
Okay.
I get to start this one, right? Yeah. All right, here we go.
Sorry, I actually had my pedal on tuner. That's when I went to playing. Yeah, let's go.
We'll edit this out. How's that?
That's kind
You
of,
didn't hear that.
that's
You didn't
called
hear
the
that.
tuning song.
Well, actually, I think people like that, though. I mean, they'd hear that at a band, they'd hear that at a bar if you're at a bar. Yeah.
to just feel my way. One question sounds fine. All I wanna know is what is.
Real good. So anyway, you guys want to talk about other things, or what's on your mind about? Have any things about the Flint area itself? Observations you want to talk about, or?
It's cold. It's very, very cold.
How about politically? Is it cold as well? You think, or what?
I don't know. We're not really a political band per se. I mean, we have political opinions, but our purpose is not to necessarily make a political change per se in the sense of let's go out and vote this or vote that.
But we have a message.
We do have a message. We have something that I think is different than the other. You know, when Rich talked about going to Dirt Fest, one of the things that struck me was that there was a lot of hate and anger.
And the music, definitely.
And the music, yeah, and also the people talking, because it's just, I don't know, it's very nihilistic in a sense. It's very, very down and pessimistic, and we're just trying to tell people, hey, you know, if you consider things from a different point of view, that's what we want to leave people with, a different point of view.
Well, sounds good. How about any of the rest of you? Have anything to add to that, or?
Yeah, I wish there was more of a thing happening. You know, I've gone downtown before, you know, to, what's down there?
423, or?
I've been to Churchill's and the Metropolis when it was open, and the local, which they're still trying to find a place. I guess they got a place, you can't get into it. And,
yeah.
But, you know, it's just
Capitol
like...
Theater back in the day.
Yeah.
I remember bands used to play in the lobby back in the early 90s.
So I was down there before that, back when it was in the fallout shelter, downstairs.
Yep. Yep.
The Guilty Bystanders and...
Yeah, actually, a lot of times when Guilty Bystanders was around back then, you know, people got the bands confused because my band in high school was called Guilty Conscience.
Yeah. See, Guilty Bystanders, I knew a couple of guys in the band because they worked at one worked at University of Michigan, the other worked for WFUM radio stations. I've actually been both of the brothers of, was it Guilty Bystanders? Yeah. And then there was Dissidents too. I went to the high school with a guy from that band, but he was a drummer, I believe, and that was like 25 years ago now.
You know, and the cool thing about, like, even bringing up, like, Guilty Bystanders, I know a lot of people respect that name, the band that was, that, I don't know if they do anything together anymore. I guess
Occasionally they do, yeah. It's last year I think they came together for something. So anyway, well, thank you guys for showing up, and I'll see if we can get more of an interview on the recorder there for the, you know, for the pirate radio. So thank you very much for showing up, guys.
Thank you for having us here.
All right, thank you very much.